Hello, good morning. Welcome to day 3 of Pulling Back the Curtain. We're working on building a startup from scratch on live, a startup product, really. And yesterday, day 2, I worked on putting together a rough prototype based off the idea we had in day 1. Today's day 3. I want to work on finishing up this low fidelity work and putting a prototype together and getting that kind of wrapped up. I had to stop yesterday because I'm doing this alongside of the regular work that I do, and so I only have a few hours in the morning to work. And then I had to go and get lunch with I didn't have to, but I went and got lunch with my friend Carson. And it was really cool because I was telling him about the project a little bit, and he mentioned sort of this idea of design constraints, which is this idea that a constraint is anything that in your design that restricts you from doing one thing or the other. And it can be something that you discover about the world that your design is going to live in that makes you want to build it a certain way, or it can be something you put on yourself. Like Whimsical, this tool we're using here, this is a design constraint because you can't really do that much with it. You can't even pick really many colors, and that focuses us, like we said, on the broad strokes, which is really, really important. And I just had a moment of appreciation that, like this video, this style is a design constraint too, because knowing that somebody could watch what you're building and doing, it's like just a good reminder to stay focused-ish, and there's always going to be little detours, but it's kind of a nice way to design. I'm kind of getting used to it. Yesterday when I left off, I was kind of in the mood to just jump right into code. I was like, oh man, this is coming together. Like I always get excited when you start to see pieces starting to fit in. And I was sort of thinking like, oh, I wish I could just had wrapped up and gotten everything ready to go in a prototype so I could move on. That's sort of the engineer in me speaking. And it always kind of happens. It happens to everybody. It's not just engineers or designers working on projects. I think it's natural, but I want to spend a little bit more time on this wireframe because even though it might look wireframey, I don't think it's done. There's a few things I want to do. One, I want to just get the quality up a little bit so that it's a little bit ready, so that things are a little bit more consistent, and that's going to matter a lot when we put it into code because you're generally going to build abstractions on these different UI components. You're going to build only one of these, and so general consistency helps you see where you can reuse code. I want to make it a little more complete. Like we're assuming that there's a login section here, but we don't have a login yet, and we need to add something like that. Settings is pretty open. I'm okay adding a little more that I'm going to build right away because I'm not going to build all of this at once. I'm going to build this incrementally, and I kind of want to have a version to shoot for. You know what I mean? Like I want to have a light at the end of the tunnel, not like a final product, but a milestone that says, if I were to do all of this, I would have a product that does this XYZ completely. I'm not, waiting for this to, sometimes you can get into a slog with writing code. You're just like, everything, I keep adding features. It's never good. It's never done. You want to get to good and done as quickly as possible, and so I think having a small version of a thing that is good and done is a really helpful motivational morale booster in the code stage. So there's completeness and there's quality. I also think and consistency. I also think that we haven't done the full user story to the degree that's going to help us succeed yet. What I mean by that is we've built a thing here in this prototype that is it will kind of do it functionally, and it's pretty proficient. I think of a design a hierarchy of needs essentially. At the bottom is this. It has to do the thing and it has to do the right thing of all the things it could do. It has to be easy enough to use, but it also has to speak to that person and have emotional resonance and feel right. And part of that is visual design, which we're not even working on at all right now. But a lot of that is copy and what you say and how you get somebody introduced to a product and onboarding. I want to spend a little time today getting those experience details fleshed out a little bit. Maybe think about our personas just a little bit more. Again, simulate through walking through the app as them, and like this is just the old like sharpen the saw. If you sharpen your saw, this is an analogy about Abraham Lincoln said he had 6 hours to cut down a tree. He'd spend the first 4 sharpening the saw, I think. And the idea is that if you do this prep work up front, instead of like having to manage what would be a good way to build this in code later, you've at least got a good snapshot of what might work. Okay, so with that, I'm going to dive in here. Let's see, we've got our boards from yesterday. I'm going to rename this. I had it named empty wireframes because I'm at the edge of my whimsical account and I needed to, I couldn't delete a board. So we're going to call this shuffle board shuffleboard for now. Go back home. Okay. So we have a to-do here. We know I want to do an email layer. I think I mentioned that yesterday. I'm just going to make a little to-do list here. I like to scatter to-do lists in whatever context I'm using. Like if it's code, I like to have a to-do list in my code sometimes. If it's design, I like to have to-do lists just right in the design so I know in the thing what this thing needs. Pricing page. Oh my God. Why is it that when you know somebody's watching, you cannot type on your keyboard? Okay, pricing page. Login, I know I want to do today. Okay, how you actually create the board. It's very easy, I've found, when you're working on projects, to have a lot of easy things to do and like one hard thing to do, like one complex page, and to spend a lot of time working on the easy pages. Like the home screen, like this looks like every home screen ever, and not worry about these details down here. And I think having thought about it, I want to spend a little bit of time on the question, the prompt builder maybe. Get that going. I'm gonna make this red just so I can notice it easier when I'm moving around. Excuse me. It's cold and rainy here today. It's almost June. Need a login screen here actually. And by the way, this is super normal to have, when I was talking about constraints and time, another good constraint is to force yourself to take a break. That's one of the biggest benefits of a time limitation. Because if you don't take a break and you try to go through this in like one big go, your brain is just too focused on all the things it's built up on over time. At least I find this for myself. It's much more useful to spend, an hour or two, enough time to really dive in and get immersed in it. Or maybe half a day or a day, but then you gotta sleep and you gotta come back to it eventually the next day. And a lot of the things that you were really struggling with, if you've gotten a good night's sleep, your brain will just have solved overnight. It's kind of crazy how that works. So it's almost just like having if you're doing some project by yourself, it's kind of like having like somebody work on it with you, just how somebody else would have like a clean, perspective on the project. You yourself will have increasingly clean perspectives on your own project the more time you leave in between work sessions. One day isn't that long. Okay, I want to also think about our homepage copy. I think we've got some okay stuff. We can always change it, and that's easy to change in code. But I don't think we're really doing a good job as marketers here describing what exactly this thing is going to do. Like, if you watch this mystery video, presumably you will have a better understanding. And I think some people just love videos, and so that's why I like having the video. I also think some people will just never watch a video. And so if you have a video, it might be a good idea to just have stuff that is related, like the content of that video nearby. on the page so that you don't have to force people to watch a video to get that context. Okay, just a little housekeeping. What else I want to do? General pass equality, I think. No, we gotta do that. Oh, settings I'm gonna do. Did I say that already? This is bugging me for some reason. Doesn't need to be that far away. Settings would be good to do. There's not a ton to do here, but I think it would be useful just to have it fleshed out. The way I think about, like, is this thing done? Did I say this already? I meant to. Is, like, would I send this version over, or the prototype that we're about to make later, I'll show you. Would I send that to a teammate or a boss to approve? Would I give this to them and say, hey, this is what we plan to build. Will you approve it? And although that sounds like this, like, kind of annoying layer of bureaucracy and, rubber stamping, and, like, this is the ultimate lightweight startup. It's just some dude spending an hour or two every morning working on this thing. That mindset of, like, would somebody else say, yes, this is done? When you have to get it approved, suddenly your brain starts thinking of things like, oh, well, they're not going to like this, and they're going to not like this. It's time to tidy up loose ends. And this is just like a kind of like a designer maturity thing. I think eventually you have to be able to motivate yourself to just drag yourself to say, like, hey, it ain't done yet. It's not done yet. We got to do a little bit more. We got to wrap up these details, because great design is built in details, right? It's like the little details that make something, that take something from like an okay, well-engineered thing to like a wonderfully designed thing. And although this is going to be, a significant piece of software to make, I think the differentiator here, one thing that's going to differentiate this from a whiteboard or something, is going to be the feel of using it, how it feels to use it. Okay, so settings. And as usually happens when you start making to-do lists of just a couple more things you want to tweak and finish, it gets pretty long. Oh man, it's really coming down out there. Ooh, good day to be inside on a computer. Every day is a good day to be inside on a computer if you're a nerdy introvert like me. All right. Let's start with just like a general, thought about, like, why is somebody gonna want to use this? Like, what? Some of the questions I like to ask people are like, what is the biggest pain, the hardest part about doing this thing that you do? This thing being running these interviews. What is the hardest part about that? What are you doing now? And what would be your dream scenario? And so this is not research I've done with a ton of other people, which is a kind of a risk in this project. Ideally, it would be better to do that. But since this is sort of a product-focused, I'm taking a bit of a risk. I'm taking on that risk and saying, I'm going to show them what it might be like by building a thing. And we can show them either in the prototype stage or in the code stage. But I think it'll be, I'm going to embody that for now myself. Don't try this at home. Okay, I have some of those notes. I'm going to put them away. But I think I remember. Let's just look. File cabinet here. Okay, yeah, this first page kind of has that, right? Let's put some stuff under Becky. Your goal is to run collaborative meetings that help the team make progress efficiently. The hardest part, I think, is there's a couple pieces. There's like the physical act of getting and managing Post-its. taking pictures, documenting the results was one. There's just a theme of like transcribing, whiteboards. That's a pain. And just like maybe the risk of just not doing it enough. Like generally people who talk about retrospectives and design kickoffs, they generally say like, oh, we love them, we did them, we're capable of doing them, we don't do them enough, we really should do more. And if it was sort of, if we could like just make it so that it was just like, oh, we're having a design kickoff, hit the button, design kickoff happens, super collaborative session. Like that would be really useful. And of course how they're doing it now is Post-its, Sharpies, whiteboards. You know what? Another hardest part is that it's, you know, the worst part rather is that it's not really that collaborative. You know, like that's actually a really important piece. I don't know if I talked about that yet, but like if somebody who scribbles a chicken scratch, you know, idea on a whiteboard and puts it on a piece on a wall 10 feet away from me, I can't read it. That's a problem. In a collaborative brainstorm work session, everybody needs to be able to see what's going on. So like people can't see what's happening. Oh, and also that reminds me of the remote teams. Doing it now. Post-it, Sharpies, whiteboards, taking pictures, lots of energy, facilitating. I don't know if I want to try to spell facilitating right now. Running the meeting. Google, writing things up in Google Docs. Or another document. I mean, it's really transferring pictures to Google Docs. Because, like, you know, transferring that stuff, that's the real pain, is that you have to take something from one format to another. I don't want that to be the case. I don't want you to have to, you know, import all your, you know, write up all your Post-its into another cool tool. Like, it has to happen in the tool. You don't want to do it twice. Okay. So what about Jason real quick? Like, you know, I don't know that the pain point is especially strong for this person. Like, here's some things that are, you know, worst parts. Sometimes, because this person might be a little quieter, I mean, if you're loud, you don't have this problem. But sometimes, like, it doesn't get heard on his team. Like, he's just not, you know, he has a lot of ideas, he has a lot of feedback, but, like, you know, he's not just like a loud person who just goes in and yada yada blabs all the time, like some people do on YouTube videos. Like, he's just not loud. And so, like, if you're not somebody who's, like, gonna bluster your way through a conversation, you have really important things you need to say. And so the team doesn't make progress, right? Like, it's not that you're not just not getting a voice. Like, you're not contributing and your team is not moving forward and evolving. So you need to carve out space for this person. You know, that's what we want to do. Ideal situation. I mean, for Becky, I think my ideal was like one click running remote or in-person live collaborative meeting. No prep. One click way to run a remote in-person live collaborative meeting and share the results with everyone. With the company, I'm going to say, because the people in the meeting need to see what happened, but often this might be something that you say like, hey, CEO, here's the last 3 sprint retrospectives we've had, and consistently we've had issues with figuring out what the hell this roadmap is talking about or what the vision for the product is. And these are all the people that said it, and this is how many times it's come up. Wow, that would be a powerful thing to tell somebody. So you need to be able to share this, I think, beyond like it can't just be self patting ourselves in the back for, hey, good meeting. Like, this needs to translate out into the greater org and make progress. I mean, goal. What's this person's goal? Get great work done. Serve customers, I hope. Like, serve other people, not just like live in their little bubble, but like actually make progress. The ideal here would be carve out space for me to contribute ideas, have ideas heard by the rest of the org. What else is doesn't have to write on post-its every meeting. Is that really a pain point, or is that just something I have in my head? But I do wonder if just having to constantly scribble in these meetings, like sometimes you roll your eyes when these meetings happen. I wonder because it can be good, but then there's always this somebody's going up to you with a pink Sharpie and saying, all right, you're the pink Sharpie on the blue Post-its. So when I tell you, you have 30 seconds to do this. And then there's always, sometimes there might be a little bit of a moment of hey, Carl, we work together. I know you're the project manager, but stop giving me this whole system of things I gotta do. Maybe if it was sort of like a video game where the rules of how we move through this process were abstracted away from you, it might feel a little bit more fun because you don't have the computers telling you, hey, time's up. It's not Becky saying, hey, stop writing, pencils down, like the SATs or something. Doesn't have to follow arbitrary directions from fast. Here we go. Shoot. 1L. Got me. So why are we doing this? Why are we spending all this time we're supposed to be designing, talking about these personas? Am I just checking a box here? Am I just pretending that this is necessary for a good design, but it's not? No, there's a good reason for this. Because look what we're going to do now. All these problems that we know that people have, we're just going to literally take them and put them on the homepage as our value proposition, as our benefits. People say, okay, you could have features on here, right? Whoops. This is a classic thing to say, people do that. They're features, ultra fast, secure and stable. Invite your teammates. Invite your teammates. You can, works on mobile. This is not the way, because nobody cares about these features. First of all, the fact that you're even telling me this is secure is making me wonder, wait, was it not secure before? Did you have to work that hard to make it secure? Every app I use is secure, so it better be. Don't tell me that. Invite my teammates? I don't care about inviting my teammates because I don't want to invite my teammates to something that I don't even understand what it is. I'd be embarrassed to invite my teammates to a thing that doesn't make any sense to me, right? Works on mobile, I assume. Ultra fast, even if I didn't think it was going to be that fast and it turned out to be faster to use than I expected, is that really going to blow my mind? None of these are talking about things for me. These are all things that developers built, but they're not talking about what I want in my world. They're not showing me that of all the things you could have said to me, you're going to say the things that really describe the problem I'm trying to solve as a user. Imagine, getting your taxes done and an accountant saying I turn the taxes around fast. I don't share your personal information. You can invite other people in your household to see the taxes. And I'm available via phone. I'd be okay, but you're going to do my taxes correctly, right, and save me some money on my tax return. Like, that's what I care about. So this list of features, you get it. What can we say instead? Let's just do like the super high level first. Like, running workshops is hard. Shuffleboard makes live meetings, live collaboration a breeze. Makes it shuffleboard. Is this an appropriate time for a breeze emoji? No. Weird. Cool. Okay. So, like, this will presumably be what I'm basically just kind of writing the script for the video up there, even though it'll be a little different. So look, all this, I'm just gonna copy and paste it right in here. Now, it needs a little wordsmithing, as they say, but essentially, like this, if this is the worst parts that somebody's dealing with right now, if this is the pain, this is like saying, hey, if you're doing your taxes, for example, hey, do you want to make sure your taxes are done quickly and on time? Do you need a little help figuring out what's what? Do you want to make sure you get your best possible return at the end of the year? I'd be like, yeah. And like, hey, I have a cheap tax service that'll take care of that for you in a breeze. I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. And, you know, whatever. So, let's talk about what they're trying to do. Like, let's put that goal in here, right? Maybe we put that goal. What's our goal? What did we say the goal was? Run collaborative meetings that help the team make progress efficiently. You want to, your team, you want to gather ideas from your teammates and clients. Rich, I was gonna say like a rich bounty, but that's so crazy. You want to gather like, you want to get, copy is just, it's never quick or easy, at least for me. You want to get a bunch, you want to get all the best ideas out of your team. Out of, extraction language is weird. From your team. And guess what? Follow. So not doing them enough, I'm going to say, oh shoot, can I redo? Nice. Don't do them enough. So I'm going to say like the result. We're going to reorder this, I think, in a minute. Just bear with me. Transcribing scribbled handwriting to digital notes. People can't follow, and that's like an issue for Jason, so I'm going to change that. I already have that, I guess. So this ideal section, this is what we want to have down here. Shuffleboard makes live collaboration a breeze. So instead of going negative and then positive, sometimes I think it almost might be better to just go like positive and then negative. So like, what is good here, and then like, why would you want that? Because then it sometimes I think the negative to positive vibe is like, it makes it a little bit like those infomercials where people are like in black and white trying to like peel an apple and everything goes terribly wrong. It's like, are you having this horrible problem? Get this apple peeler for $19.99 and we'll send you 3 of them. Or it costs $120 or whatever. So like, how about this? Do you want to think about like become a collaborator? I always like when titles like this, I'm looking at the words, I'm like, how can we condense this? Become isn't really doing a lot for us. So I was thinking when I was thinking about this like yesterday when I was taking a walk. What about this? Collaboration superpowers. I think live is important. What are the benefits that we're actually proposing besides ideal? I mean, you could say that this is our value proposition, what their ideal situation is. I think it's pretty close, so maybe we'll just add anything here. No prep, one-click way, live, collaboration, share. Let me give myself a little room here. So start a meeting with one click, no prep necessary. I'm trying to group these into like a couple bullet points I can say are like the things that you want to do. Really the main thing, I want to bury the lead here. Run a remote, run engaging, collaborative meetings in real time. Start a meeting with one click, no prep necessary. Works in person or with remote teams, and share the results. Your ideas are shareable and remixable. Afterwards. Okay. So like this could be one of those things, you know how there's like things where there's like you have like each of these is like a header, and then they have like little pictures. What is it? Image. Yeah. So you could have like a little illustration of what this is. Run engaging meetings in real time. Little picture of that. And then, if you want to have a little, maybe this is just a bit of a trope, but I think it's useful. So this is going to be the 4 that we use. We could do that alternate thing. Also fine. Maybe actually let's do that. Like, I'm not super worried about any kind of layout really here, as long as like the general bones of this are down, and like this stuff always is just going to get rearranged. Need a little more space. Okay, what do we have? Start a meeting with 1 click, no prep necessary. Works in person with remote teams. Now, there's a specific reason I'm actually building this for the issues that Becky's going to have, because I'm not super convinced that the Jason person in our scenario here, our user of this, is going to be the one to sign up for this service. I think he might enjoy participating in this service, but I don't know that he's going to be the one to actually like get in and be the one who's going to convert. So I'm basically making this stuff, I'm tailoring this stuff a little bit to our meeting facilitator persona. All right, now this stuff at the end, running workshops, you don't have to, running workshops is hard. That actually doesn't really fit anymore, because these are workshops we're trying to get them to run. So like, we don't want them to say that it's hard. We want to say like, this is going to be so cheesy, say goodbye. You don't have to do this stuff anymore. But no more buying Post-its and Sharpies, taking pictures of whiteboards, transcribing scribbles, bad handwriting into digital notes, manually for preparing meeting summaries. We already did remote teams. You can follow along. Did we do that? Let's put that in here. Shuffleboard makes sure everyone is heard, no matter if they're in the chair next to you or across the world. We generate real-time, instant reports so you can share your top findings with key stakeholders. Is that consultant speak? Maybe. We have to do those two. So you don't do them enough. That's a good place actually to say, like, it's easy to get around. It's when it's this easy to have a healthy brainstorm session, your team has more brainstorming. Your team comes up with better ideas. we did that, we did that. Okay. Maybe like, you know, there's like a risk of being cheesy with this stuff, like when you're doing marketing copy. Like sometimes it's just gonna come out pretty cheesy. Like, you know, sometimes when I'm doing marketing copy, I feel like I'm selling Slap Chop. And I think that that's okay to get started. Just start with the cheesy, you know, like let it go. Let it feel cheesy a little bit. As long as you're trying to get to the like the actual thing that users want, like the actual focus and goals, and you're not just trying to like sell them some 20% coupon at this stage in your company to just get them to buy no matter what, then I think you're doing okay. And the reason is that this is hard and it takes time. And if you're really good at this, you might not be good at other things. If you're good at design, if you're good at engineering, chances are you might be bad at writing copy, or, you know, it's just like anything else. It takes a lot of time, and that's okay. So I don't think I want to do much more than this. I mean, we might do an A/B test and find out that the simpler version of the web page we had before was just better. Like it might just perform better, and we don't know. And there's really no way to know until we know and figure it out. But I think having a little bit here is just, it's just, you know, this can help us write this SEO copy over here. This is going to give people an actual reason to sign up and make them feel like this, the problem we're trying to solve is resonating with them. And that is, you know, I think that's really important. We can also make the video for that. Another way to do it is just make the video based off these points, which we're going to have to do anyway. You know, we're going to have to write this video script and then like put the video in the video, and then we don't have to have this if we don't want to design this or make illustrations for this, etc. Okay. I think that's a lot better. Now, let's see. I don't want to oversell Jason right now because he's already trapped in this meeting, and I don't want him to feel like there's a lot to do. So I don't want them to. I don't really want to have a lot of pitching for him right now on this landing page, because once he's in the meeting, he's got this link. It's happening, right? Like there's no. He's already in this moment. The place to convince him, I think, might be afterwards when he say like, "It happened. How did it go? This is what this tool is trying to do." So we'll get to that in a minute. For now, I'm just going to say log in with Google. Maybe better ways to log in. I happen to know that logging in with Google is going to be one of the easier ways for me to build this thing. So I'm tempted to just leave it like that for now. I had a piece of paper where I drew a couple things that would make sense. Yeah. This one. Join room. I already have the join room blooming. Cool. Okay, so it's not anything super unique. We just need to say the same thing we have here for Jason. Thanks for joining. This is what we really need to say. You know what I want to do? I want to say the login with Google is good, but maybe requires log in with Google here. Oh, what have I done? Am I in like a weird shadowland with this? Whimsical situation? I lost my, oh crap. How do I get out of this? I lost my toolbar. I zoomed in somehow. Nope, that's not what I meant. I accidentally went full screen. again. I'm losing it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is just one of those things that happens when you're doing stuff. Try one more refresh. Nope. All right, well, we'll worry about that in a minute. Hopefully we can keep going. I think there's enough here to make this work. Just gotta remember those keyboard shortcuts. Sprint retrospective, hopefully. Join this meeting sounds like there's gonna be a video call. Maybe we just need to explain that it won't be. Participate. Let's just say join, because once you get, you have to design for people who are in your, can I do it here? Nope. You have to design for people who are using this for the first time and people who are using this for the 274th time. So I think join this meeting requires logging with Google. You'll be able to, Becky is using Shuffleboard, so you'll be able to gather your ideas during the meeting. Maybe that's all we really need to say. It should be lower, right? So you can get a thumb on it. Good enough. Woohoo, thanks for joining. Hang tight, should we sit tight? Oh, we have a little logo here for when you're logged in. There might be another alternate version of this, where if they are logged in, you say, and we might even need a log out if you're going to have a log in. Okay. So let's get started. Maybe this can be a bit more fun or bigger. Tend to splash a party emoji whenever I feel excited. What went well this sprint? Great team communication, result, etc., etc. All right, we'll come back to that. I think we're doing well with this part here. We have not done the email or the pricing page, but we did pretty well with our homepage copy. So that's positive. I do want to do an email layer. I do want to look at a pricing page a little bit. Definitely want to do login. I'm always kind of sorting these in order of like importance. The prompt builder is huge. Let's do that next. And settings is more important than pricing page, but less important than login, I think, because you do need settings, but no big deal. Okay, so like we're on our way. I'm going to take a quick break, grab another little snack, and take a walk around the apartment and see how we're doing. But I think, this is a bit of an improvement on what we did last time. I know it might feel like we're going a little bit slower, but I think getting these values down of what this person is actually trying to solve is going to be really beneficial for this project. I took a break, got some food, made more tea, laid on my couch to clear my brain for a while and stared at the ceiling for about at least 10 minutes. Listened to some talking heads and danced around my apartment and got my energy going and got excited. And now I'm ready to get back into it. And the reason I say all that is because I'm trying to be honest about my process, and my process involves staring at the ceiling, dancing around with music in between wireframing sessions. And that's what's real. Okay, so let's get back to it. We did our homepage copy. I want to get into our prompt builder a little bit and see how many of these things we can get through. I hope we can get through a fair amount of the wireframing that we need to do today, because I would like to move on eventually, but I think everything we're doing here is pretty useful. Oh, I still haven't figured out how to fix my whimsical. Maybe a hard refresh? Maybe a refresh and then a zoom while it's refreshing? Ah, that did it. All right. It's the little things. Okay. So we've got our persona and sort of like a little bit of our talking points here. Just going to do a couple things. We need another call to action at the bottom, probably. Try it for free. I think that's okay. We'll have to worry about some of this stuff later. Oh, this is duplicated. Okay. Shuffleboard makes shuffleboard replaces messy whiteboard post-it sessions with simple guided prompts and easy that people can answer on their phones. The distraction issue was a concern here. Maybe that's like a worry. Objections is something that's called in sales. Objections. I miss paper is one thing we talked about, and I don't want my people getting distracted. Maybe we can make this a pros and cons list. I'm a little nervous about that because it seems a little cheeseball. But like I said, not afraid of cheeseball, at least right now. Benefits, we already talked about it, but let's just pretend that these are benefits. Check. That's really only one benefit, so I don't think we need a whole section for this. Just put it here. Okay. I'm going to move myself along, give myself a little encouragement to do something else besides this homepage because I want to move through this stuff. Prompt builder. This is an interesting take on prompt builder we did yesterday. What if you just put the questions in and you didn't have to have this side navigation where you saw the way that different ones worked? I think this is probably the right way to build it at first, potentially. In fact, I think the right way to do it at first is to build a meeting cycle that you can run without a prompt builder, so you can have just built-in prompts. Like, let's just make it only for retrospectives at first. I feel confident that I can make this happen in the coding sprint with very little information. So I'm not going to do this. I'm going to put a little bit more effort into a prompt builder here. I might delete it, but usually what I just do is move these things into like a little graveyard or something. And I put a little dash before it because when we import this into InVision, InVision will ignore the ones with the dashes. Okay, let's work on making these questions a little bit better. I forget, I wanted to do a divider, vertical divider. Can I do it? Is there like a rotate option? Shoot. No, it's not. Okay, so let's work on our builder here. What would be some things that we talked about, some features that we talked about we might want to let people do? Prompts. Video prompts would be cool, it says. Group answers, don't know what that is. Reactions, like, stop voting, we have that. Could be a little bit better. Time limits, okay. That I think is one that I might want to try here because that is such a common I want to say this is called prompt. Prompt answer type. I'm also thinking about a sketch I had. Where was it? This one. Prompt. What XYZ prompt text goes here? Question. You need their answer. So ideas I had for, this is sort of standard for form builders, but text, long text, multiple choice, list of items, picture. What might that be? Let's just say there's a bunch of little options. You know, in code this would technically be maybe a radio button, but it's going to look way different from that. It's going to be short text. This should be center aligned. So when I change it for future ones of these, it works. In fact, let's just get rid of this guy. Probably small too. Can I swap this right in here? Yeah. Cool. Whimsical is a cool tool, huh? Long answer. Oops. That's not what I meant to do. Multiple choice was one, I think. Get our alignment going. Well, multiple choice implies that there's a choose one option, and that's really what bullet list. Let's go with this. Short text has multiple choice. Picture. Ooh, picture or video. It'd be cool if they could do a video. Answer. That's a cool idea, huh? Okay, so you can choose what went well. There, what kind of thing? So what went well? What didn't go well? Do we need a little thing that says like these are what the prompts are? Maybe not. That's not too much. Prompt and answer is confusing. It should be question and answer. Your question. Answer format. Can I make this bigger? No. Okay. Short text, long answer, choose one, multiple choice, picture, video. Okay, so the other things I think were useful are time limit. And like min and max number of answers. Minimum. There's also this concept of required, right? Like, do you require an answer? Required is like such a formy thing to ask somebody. Like, is it required? Is it not required? I feel like I'm applying to a thing at the DMV. You know, I don't want it to be like the DMV. I want it to be fun. Minimum, I think, is the thing that we're going for here. Minimum. Per person, I think, is important. And then this will update based off of what we got from here. And this needs to have some sort of selected state. It's really selected. Can we tone it down? It's a little better. I know it's a little disabled, but that's fine. 0 will be the default state. How about this? I almost want to say min and max, but is that too like goofy? I'm not loving this UI right now. I was gonna do this. Good enough. Time limit. What if we just started simple with like blank minutes and then an option to auto advance? Ooh, no. Toggle. That's even better. Is that useful here? I think so. So this is just the idea that things will move once time is complete. I don't think this is super usable yet. I think people are going to get confused by this. I'm going to leave it like this for now. I think it makes enough sense for us to keep going. Oh, did I already have it right here? What? Darn it. That would have been useful. And we need a link to delete this question. So you could very easily say, okay, sprint retrospective, prompts, add prompt. We might want to have a little bit more information about these underneath them. Like, let's tell people what this thing is. What's going on? What's going on? 2 minutes. Short answer, right? This would actually probably be like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. If we rewrite this to be more human language, what about something like this? That way we can get rid of the minimum maximum BS. Watch this kung fu. No more than... Wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. When I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath. Well, now that we're doing this capitals thing, we got to keep it consistent. Question. Do I like it? I don't know. I'll think about it. Don't need this one though. How about this? Since we don't have a vertical line, let's give them their whole own box to live in. That way, these get a little bit more emphasis than they had before, and I want them to have emphasis because these little, this little sidebar situation. These guys are the main navigation of this page. It's important that people know about them. It's also important to be able to select them. How's that happening? What's going on? Maybe we don't need that. You get the idea. We're building this prompt here. A question. I got that song in my head. Perspective. I don't like calling it a board because I'm not really sure what a board is in this thing yet. I don't really get that. Need some alignment going on this maybe. Does this make sense? Skeptical. We'll leave it like that. So that's way better already. Like this is, hold on. Just a little bit of attention here. Like we knew there was going to be a thing, but like just paying attention to the things that we know we're going to need. Auto advance to the next question when time is up. So this is like, this is getting closer to that metric, that bar of would I show this to somebody to approve? Would I say, hey, if we build this, is this going to be good for you for our version? Can we ship this to customers? At this point, yeah, I think this is pretty close, actually. This maybe not, some of this stuff maybe not. We'll get as close as makes sense today. Ooh, some stats about the meeting. You know what? Sometimes it's as easy as this. 89 total answers over 55 minutes. Nice work. That was easy. Done. So, like I said, we'll build smaller versions of this. This isn't going to be how it looks when the first code gets shipped. In fact, you'll see the first code is not going to have any of this. It's going to be, it ain't going to be much to it. But now we've got like a vision in our head of how this thing can work. And I can use this in a prototype to get feedback from people, etc. All right, let's do a login real quick just because I'm in the UI mode here and I know that that's not going to be, hopefully, a super time-consuming process. Basically, my strategy is that like you just try to throw people into the app from the marketing side. In this case, it's probably not going to be a separate code base. You don't know if they have an account or not. You don't know if they're signing up or not. Let's go to the dashboard. But once they get to the app will find out for you. So basically, if the app says that they're logged in, you go right and you're logged in. If the app thinks you're not logged in, you're not going to have these. You're not going to have this. Maybe this needs to be different. Center? Oh, I don't know. And what are we going to ask them to do? Log in. Maybe it should actually be one of these guys. So, the simplest answer for this, and realistically how this is going to work in development, most likely, is just going to be like a button that says this, log in with Google, and that'll be done. That's it. But how would we want it to look? We're in our design phase. Let's give it a moment, Let's say create your account here, because even though most people are going to already have accounts, most people who have accounts are already going to be logged in. And even if they're not, I want people who are, they're already going to be motivated to get in because they have something to do. So I want to like highlight this option for create your account. Notice I'm like cannibalizing old UI that just was like close enough. Tiny little boy. Nope, not what I meant. Not what I meant. Oh, shit. Ow, no. Computer's going nuts. What have I done? There we go. Uh-oh. What is input? N? Nope. P? Yeah. By the way, option dragging things copies in Whimsical, but it also copies things in Sketch and other places. And if you're not doing it, get on board, people, because it's a good life. I'm going to make them think that they need to make a really secure password here because they should. And whenever you're asking, oh, well, create, that's different. We're good on that. I want to de-emphasize this one because I'd rather them just log in with Google so I don't have to worry about it. Oh, there's not a gray button. Let's make it blue and make this one red because Google's red. I want to reiterate here that there's no credit card required to start, although that might not actually be true. Like maybe I'll make it so that you need to put in a credit card to like do a live presentation. I haven't thought about pricing yet, but let's just say something like this for now. Okay. Is this all one thing? Great. Now we're going to dupe. I don't want this necessarily. Maybe those little helpers we don't really need. So like I said, I usually just have that one button in there. I'm not really sure if I'm liking this. This is just a lot. And now I gotta deal with the alignment of these two things. I need to put this in a group myself. The problem is that, you know, I'd like to use this space to talk about why they should go through all the pain in the ass of creating an email password and account, just like give them a little reminder about what they're doing here. So I think I need to split this up into login, and sign up. How's that work with Google? Login. So let's just say that we're going to make a new one called just create an account. We could do the two-stage thing where you put in your email and then it decides later if you're creating an account or not. So that would just basically be this. And then you do need a link here. You know, sometimes I don't remember if I have an account somewhere or not, you know? What's best practices? Best practice, UX, login, sign up. UX Planet, UXdesign.cc, Adobe, I'm not sure. Kind of always hoping for a Nielsen Norman, because those guys are grumpy, but they tend to know what they're doing. Define, yep, we want to do that. Show quick login, show input field, differentiate sign. Okay. Yep. I guess. ISD code. Is that a dupe? Yeah, password strength stuff. I really don't have to deal with that. To be honest, I'm probably not going to get around to making an email-based password for a little while just because I think there's other things I should be making. And this is kind of a pain sometimes. Don't use it together? Okay. So source Airbnb. Which means basically you can just look at other people and see how they do it. So let's see, Airbnb. Sign up, log in. Log in. Don't have an account? Sign up. Sign up. You know, so it's a whole separate thing. I like that. All right. Yeah. Let's do this. Who had that in there? I forget. We're just going to use that. Oops. That's going to mess with this bit here. I'm confident I can do a forget your password screen later. Create your account. So I'm just going to say something like, you are only a minute away from making boring meetings history. Well, crap, my camera ran out of storage space. But I figured it out. I have to like empty the trash in my camera or something, or my phone. But I'm out of time anyway today. I got to get to doing some stuff for my real job. And I'm only spending a couple hours on this in the morning. So I'm going to take a break. It looks like I'm going to need at least one more day of wireframing after all. Pretty good progress today. Like we figured out the core mechanism, I think, for this, question builder and some important parts of selling this to the person we're trying to build it for on the homepage. So good, but I'm going to make sure I get plenty of sleep, and hopefully I can make a little more progress and at least get close to wrapping things up on wireframes and this sort of initial MVP idea tomorrow morning.